Well, welcome back to Kalkine Sports on Kalkine TV. Hope you enjoyed that little chat there with Adam Santarossa. Of course, the A-League with a big match for this weekend, the grand final between Melbourne City and also Sydney FC. Another code who is preparing for one of their biggest nights is the NRL and more broadly Rugby League. After New South Wales took Game 1 in a 50-6 thrashing for State of Origin 1, Queensland will be looking to bounce back and earlier today I caught up with current NRL player Brad Deitz to look at the match and talk about Rugby League more broadly. All right, well, it's now my great pleasure to introduce to Kalkine Sports Brad Deitz, the hooker for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs, current NRL player. Brad, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Now, look, it's a bit of an interesting weekend for you yourself. You got a few days off with the rep round, also COVID spurring up at the moment. We'll touch on COVID and the bubble a little later on, but let's start with Origin itself. Game 2, we're well poised. New South Wales are thrashing in the first match, 50-6 over Queensland. How can the Maroons come back from this, and how do you see the match playing out?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, the Blues dominated Game 1, and from a New South Wales Blues supporter, obviously I really enjoyed watching that. But I think a few little changes that Queensland have made for Game 2. Big inclusion of Reece Walsh will be interesting to see how he performs on the big stage. And I think Queenslanders have a point to prove in this one, so it might not be as easy running this time around.
Well, we know it's always hard going up into the north of the country there. It's a very tough thing to come away with a victory whenever you're in the Sunshine State. Let's just touch on Reece Walsh there. I think he's the fourth youngest debutant in State of Origin arena. I mean, just under 19 years of age. It's a big step up. Do you think he can handle it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question. I haven't really watched too much of the Warriors, but everything I've seen from the Warriors is pretty much Reece Walsh highlights, just him dominating all their attack. But yeah, obviously we all know Origin's a different beast. It's a lot tighter defensively and very limited opportunities. So if anyone can break that open, hopefully it is him for the Queenslanders.
So just before we move on to your own personal story, where do you think it's going to be won and lost for either side?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think if it's a dry track like it was in the first game, I think the outside backs will really come into play. Obviously, the likes of Turbo for New South Wales just roaming around, and his speed and strength and just popping up in the right place at the right time. I think those kind of real strike players on the edges will be key for both teams.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, look, of course, that match is on Sunday night, 7:50 p.m. sharp. You don't want to miss it. Potentially a series-winning match on the offer for the Blues. Now, Brad, let's turn to your own story. It's been a really interesting one. So we've seen a bunch of players as the season has unfolded, changing teams, coming into the sides who were potentially outside the top 30. But it happened quite early in the season for you. Dogs having a hooking crisis, Sione Katoa out, Jerry Marshall-King also missing. All of a sudden, there's the big knock on the door. What was that first moment like being told by Trent Barrett, mate, you're in?
Yeah, it was a real surreal feeling. Obviously, like you said, I didn't expect anything like that coming into the year. I was a school teacher about 6 weeks before, or not even 6 weeks, probably a month before the season started, and we got that opportunity to train towards the end of the pre-season, and then, yeah, like you said, a little door opened up with a few injuries in the hooking role, so I was just able to make the most of that. So I was really, really surprised when Baz told me, and it's obviously been a long time for me waiting to make that crack. And yeah, I was just stoked when he told me.
100%. I actually remember years ago, back in 2016, I was calling a game. Damien Cook was playing fullback for the North Sydney Bears. You were the starting hooker there, and now Damien is the international and State of Origin hooker. So it's crazy how things come full circle, mate.
Oh, definitely. I think that's just reminded me of that game. That's such a long time ago. But yeah, like I said, I got to have a bit of time at Souths while Cookie was obviously coming through there and starting off at Souths, and Robbie Farrell was there. So I learned a little bit off those guys, and hopefully, I guess it's contributed to where I am now.
Well, mate, just before I let you go, let's talk more broadly as well about where the NRL currently finds itself. The Roosters have already announced round 16. They're shifting their game away from Sydney, taking it up to the Hunter due to the COVID cluster. What does it look like now? Are you guys back in the bubble?
Yeah, so we're in the bubble again now, and it's the tightest restrictions that are in place. So really, all of us can only go to and from training and to and from games. We're not really allowed to go anywhere. If we really need to go to the shops to get some essential groceries and stuff like that, then we can. But other than that, it's pretty much to and from training, and then sitting at home, which is not ideal. It's nice weather has come out now, and but I know a few of the boys will be happy to be sitting at home playing PlayStation.
So if they do want to have a little match against you or anyone watching, what's the handle, mate? How do we get you on the PlayStation network?
Oh, mate, I'm not any good. I just play by myself usually because I'm too embarrassed to play with those guys.
Okay, we'll let you do your talking out on the field then. Brad, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Now, awesome little story for yourself coming through the season. Great to see you pick up a few games. Just before I let you go, who wins Origin 2?
Oh, it's hard to go past New South Wales. I think what they showed in Game 1, they're an outstanding team, and they're going to be hard to beat come Sunday.
All right, there's the official word from Brad Deitz, the NRL Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs hooker. Brad, thank you so much for your time, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me.